Possibly the most popular feature in Adobe XD is this next one because it saves so much time. And really, you'll find nothing like it in Illustrator or Photoshop or other apps for that matter. I'm just drawing out a rectangle, and it's just going to be filled with black. But really, this is where I want a photo to appear, and I want to give it a title as well. So Command 3. I'll add some text in here. So this is just going to be a places text field, okay? And I'm going to make sure it is the same character style I've been using, just like that. Okay, so typically what you would do is you'll drop in a photo, like I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and you'll place it right in here, and you'll take these two items and you'll start duplicating it, right? So you could do your Command C, Command V, and it even gives you a hint when you do a Command C and Command V to repeat grid. And that's what I'm going to show next, because XD knows that I'm doing something like this. And sure, there are other keyboard shortcuts, holding down the Alt key and the Shift key, dragging that out. I can start to create this grid, but since I need to create so many, I don't have to worry about doing that. In fact, all I need to do is select both of these graphics right here, the text, the image, really anything, and then right over here, select repeat grid. What happens? It allows me to repeat it, not only the number of columns, but the number of rows, as you can see. Really nice, really easy to work with. This is fantastic. I could maybe kind of stretch this out over here, and I can adjust the spacing in between. So I can shrink that down, make that maybe 0, maybe bring this up, make that about 0 as well, just like that, okay? This is fantastic, having this ability, being able to have this repeat grid, repeat as much as I want, and making sure that looks good. This saves me a ton of time. And what if I want to bring in images? I don't want to have that same image, right? That'd be kind of silly. Instead, I can select multiple images from my desktop and drop them in, and they'll propagate on down. Notice if I do expand this out even further, you'll start to see them duplicate in here. And that's what happens. It works out fine, but this is really good because I could really start to see the issues I'm having, because I'm noticing that this text is hard to read, okay? In fact, why does everything say places? Guess what? I can move this around and maybe move it to a darker spot if I want to. But it has a couple issues, because 1, it's not the right text. 2, I can't see it. So those are 2 things I'm going to solve. I'm going to go out to my desktop and grab this TXT file. That's all it is, just listing places and who took the photo. I could take that TXT file and drop it in on a text field. Guess what? It propagates on down, and that's a good starting point. So from here, I can see with this real content that this isn't really going to work. I can shrink this down like that and start to get this at a point to where I like it. But the great thing is I'm using repeat grid, so even when I want to add something, in fact, I'm going to open up my layers panel. You can see repeat grid and those 2 items. So maybe in this case, I want to add a rectangle. How about if I draw a rectangle right in there? Propagates across all of them. And in this case, yeah, I want to make it black, and I want to make sure it's right underneath that text. And if it's kind of hard to drag down, you can just say send backward. And that's more along the lines of what I want, okay? So that's what you do. You'd use real images, use some real text, and throw a fancy feature in there like background blur and darken that up. And this is more along the lines of what I want to be able to do as a designer, adding content in easily. It's all tied together, of course, with repeat grid, but the content can be different. So I encourage you to use repeat grid, have fun with it, and this is just one of the exciting ways that you could use repeat grid.